Hello everyone, my name is Prasad Sangani and I'm currently pursuing my Masters in Agricultural Science from University of Southern Queensland. So today we are gonna discuss about bushfires in Blue Mountains. So my research question is how has the interaction between rising temperature and drought conditions affected bushfire patterns in the Blue Mountain regions over the past 20 years and what are the quantifiable impacts on biodiversity indicators? So first of all, what are Blue Mountains? Blue Mountains is one of the old rich heritage sites located in New South Wales, Australia. It is said to be 12,000 years old. So the Blue Mountains are also known for its dense ecosystem of eucalyptus forest. So going in detail, in this talk we're gonna cover what are the emerging problems in Blue Mountains, mainly bushfires. So the Blue Mountains are experiencing a major ecological shift. This presentation explores how climate extremes reshape fire patterns and what that means for the plants, animals and ecosystem that depend on stability. Along that, we're gonna cover in this topic is climate trends, fire changes, measurable biodiversity impacts, and what are the monitoring challenges we face when controlling bushfires. Going further, I will detail about climate trends. So, temperature and rainfall are the two important climatic factors I'm gonna discuss. Firstly, temperature. Blue Mountains have seen a notable increase in temperature. It has risen approximately 1.4 degrees Celsius every year. So, the warming trend is contributing to longer and hotter summers, which is the summer season extended 30 days when compared to the last 70 years ago. So, nextly, changing rainfall patterns. Blue Mountains are becoming more variable. While some periods experience above average rainfall and other significant dry spells. So, this water resource management has increased the risk of both droughts and floods in the region. Finally, increased bushfire risk. Rising heat has led to drier landscapes and longer fire seasons. This map shows the areas like Blue Mountains experienced intense canopy damage during the 2019 to 2020 mega fires. Now I'm going to discuss about drought and drought conditions. The Blue Mountain region in New South Wales has experienced notable dry periods due to drastic climatic changes. So one of the key drought period is 1997 to 2009, which is known as Millennium Drought. And another most recent historical dry period is 2017 to 2020. From mid 2017 to 2020s, the Greater Sydney system, which includes the Blue Mountains, underwent one of the most severe drought conditions. These periods saw record low inflows and unprotected storage depletion rates, reducing total storage by over 50%. So, there are different drought trends in the Blue Mountains, which includes prolonged droughts, dry soils and vegetation stress, reduced water availability. So, how drought intensifies fire risk? So due to drought, there is lower soil and fuel moisture which dry out the vegetation, causes ecosystem stress, which increases the chances and risk of fire. Now I will discuss about the heart of the topic, that is bushfires and changing bushfire patterns. So there are new fire behaviors: crown fires, flames which reach the top tree canopies, erratic spread, spot fires, firestorms. So one of the main motive or the thing which grabbed my attention towards the bushfire is the recent major havoc burst out that occurred in 2019 to 2020. It's nothing but Black Summer. Black Summer itself reshaped our understanding of fire risk with vast canopy loss. In the Blue Mountain itself, 83% of the national park area has been affected due to black summer fires. Now I will detail about ecological effects in plants. So there are so many ecological effects which are caused due to bushfires. Some of them are key native adaptations, regeneration limits, habitat fragmentations, invasive species threat. So habitat loss. Fires break up large connected areas of bushland, making them animals to find food, which makes them more vulnerable to extinction. So some of these species develop regenerative structures like lignotubes and epicormics, which make them chance to survive in that area. Invasive species threat. Fast growing species outcome the native seedlings. After bushfires, they change the ecosystem balance. We will look into ecological effects caused in animals. So there are so many ecological effects that are caused to animals. So one of the two ecological effects are habitat loss and disruption of food chain. Even there are some more: death and injury of animals or species, impact on threatened species, increased predation and competition, and long-term population declines. Let's look about some of the impacted species. For example, greater gliders. Due to the decline in hollow tree loss canopy, these are at a risk of extinction. Even koalas, they are vulnerable to canopy scorch and dehydration. Over 3 billion animals were affected during the 2019 to 2020 Black Summer bushfires. Now we will talk about biodiversity indicators. So first, what are these biodiversity indicators? Biodiversity indicators act like ecological warning lights, guiding how we respond, restore, and protect ecosystem at risk. So there are a number of indicators. Species based indicators, that is species richness, the total number of different species in an area, population trends, monitoring changes in population sizes, and threatened species count, number of species listed as endangered or vulnerable. Regeneration rate, ability of vegetation to recover or regenerate. Habitat indicators, nothing but extent of habitat, how much natural habitat remains. Habitat fragmentation, measuring how connected or broken parts of natural areas are recovering. Fire frequency, how often ecosystems are disturbed and how well they recover. Even there are genetic diversity indicators. Conservation response indicators, protected area coverage, how much land is formally protected. Restoration activities, how much land is formally restoration being restored, weed removal and wildlife corridors. Community and policy engagement. So why does these indicators matters? These indicators help measure ecosystem resistance, resilience and recovery after the impact of the fire attack, inform policies, fire management strategies. So now let's see what are the monitoring and data challenges we face in bushfire impacts. So monitoring biodiversity and bushfire impacts, especially in regions like Blue Mountains, is essential but comes with significant challenges. Here is a breakdown. Accessibility and terrain. Rugged landscape in the Blue Mountains make it difficult and hard to access certain sites regularly. Some remote or high risk areas cannot be monitored during or shortly after fire breakouts. Limited resources. Funding and staffing constraints affect how often we thoroughly monitor the areas. Long-term monitoring programs are underfunded and often disrupted by changing priorities. Inconsistent data collection. Different methods and standard across agencies lead to incompatible data collection and only short-term assessments or ability to compare data over time. Gaps in species knowledge. Some species, especially insects, fungi, and small mammals, are poorly studied. Fire impacts many species that are not even officially recorded or recognized yet. Rapid environmental changes. Climate change and fire frequency are creating new patterns that change the entire ecological structure, and the datasets don't account for, and the older models also. Hard to predict long-term ecological responses or recovery without updated baselines. And data sharing barriers, even technology limitations. Camera traps, drones, and remote sensors help but can be expensive and require skilled personnel. So there are some of the emerging solutions for these challenges also. Like we can capture satellite imagery, tracks vegetation loss and regrowth over large areas, remote fauna sensors enable species movement from area to area and survival they monitoring. So here the picture depicts about Australian bushfire satellite imagery CAIRA 2024. Let's jump to the conclusion. In conclusion, I can conclude by saying that due to drastic climatic change, there is intense fire breakouts and fire bush attacks, which eventually decrease biodiversity. So, rising temperatures and prolonged droughts are intensifying bushfire severity. Ecosystems are approaching or crossing resilience thresholds. So, why does this matters to us? Because due to biodiversity loss, it weakens our ecosystem and gradually it affects the function of the whole environment and even human sustainability. So there should be recovering capacity. The Blue Mountains is a critical region for endemic species conservation. Moving forward, adaptive fire planning must consider climate extremes and ecological limits. So here are my references where I gathered this information and presented my PPT presentation. So you can go through the links and references and feel free to have ask me any questions. Thank you.